Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Game as match play Manchester City against West Ham United. A completely different discussion around Man City. We've been doing YouTube for years now, and it feels like the last few years at least anyway, Gonzo, when we play Man City, we sort of just say the same thing over and over again. Not this time round. What's your thoughts on Man City?
Yeah, I think there's a number of factors. I think everybody's looking for the single smoking gun, as seems to be the way of things. I think it's the absence of Rodri. It could be the fact that finally the doom cloud hanging over them, that possibly the club could be in absolute turmoil once the sanctions are taken against them for their 114, 115 indiscrepancies or whatever. A lot of people are saying that has played a part, and maybe some of the players want out, and maybe players don't want to join and stuff like that. And I think there's probably a bit of everything really, but I think possibly the main thing with it, and this doesn't explain total capitulation, but I think one of the main things is it's really, really hard anyway to win back-to-back titles. So Alex Ferguson used to say it all the time. Was certainly the case with Liverpool, who were dominant. People just don't win 3 and 4 championships in a row, because there's always a dip. It's just hard to keep that intensity up. So I think you've probably seen a bit of everything all happening at the same time. So it is, don't forget, Kevin De Bruyne has been out for large chunks of the season as well. If you were to say who are Manchester City's 3 most important players, some people might say Haaland, De Bruyne and Rodri. And I think if you're going to take 2 of those out of the equation, I think obviously Rodri just won the Ballon d'Or. Well, not just, but he'd won the Ballon d'Or. Big player, and that is going to be a loss. But there also was a point earlier on in the season where I saw, Kovacic was playing out. I know he's not that, but he was getting away with it, and it seemed to be working well. So they've also got they have had results whilst Rodri has been out. I think there's just a number of things at play here, and possibly they didn't have the greatest transfer window in the world as well. So I think there's probably lots of different reasons, Geo, why it's not been so great.
Yeah, I think my biggest take would be, I think the injury to Rodri is one thing, but I think it coincides. I think both of these things are true, and I think it's just both things have happened at the same time, which has made it worse. And I know people look at Man City and go, "Oh, let me get my." Oh, look! I'm sorry, I can't find any small violin to play for Man City. Oh no, look at them; they might finish in the Europa League spots this year. What a disaster! But this is a disaster as far as Man City are concerned. They're used to being at the top of the table, leading. They've just broken records, 4 titles in a row. But so I think Rodri's one element. I think the second element is a bit of an aging squad, a stale squad now. Kyle Walker isn't as good as he was a few years ago. De Bruyne might still be as good, but it's just broken now. You barely see him. Even when he's fit, he tends to be on the bench now and coming on to games. Haaland's not scoring goals. And then, like you said, poor transfer window. And I would pluralize that and say it's poor transfer windows. I think they've not replaced Riyad Mahrez, who I think is one of the most underrated wingers that we've seen in the Premier League, and just had that little bit of the X factor that Man City don't have anymore. I think Gundogan, before he went to Barcelona, had it as well. He went to Barcelona, he's come back. He's not the same player. He just caught up with him. It's not the end of the world, but he's nowhere near the player that left Manchester City a couple of seasons ago. They brought in Doku, who I can't tell if he's a good player or not. He is a good player. I can't tell if he's good enough for Manchester City or not. He's fast, he's tricky, but there's not much end product from him. Jack Grealish has just gone a full calendar year without scoring a goal. Savinho's come in and he's finally got his goal, but again, looks bright, looks tricky. He's young, but he's nowhere near the level Riyad Mahrez was on yet. None of them are. So I think they're really missing him. Phil Foden's gone completely off the boil. Whatever happened to him, I don't know. So I think it's just some bad transfer windows, aging squad, and it just feels a little bit stale. That it feels a bit like it's time for a rebuild at Man City. Wholesale changes. 4 or 5 players out, 4 or 5 players in. They'll have the money to do it. They've still got the pool. I know some point at the 115 charges. I'm not sure that's too big a reason, because I think players will just have something in their contract which says, well, if you are found guilty and you get, I'm out of here kind of thing. And I think Man City will just have to go, well, yeah, we'll sign that because we're innocent. You can't do both. You can't plead innocence and say, "Oh, we've done nothing wrong." So when a player says, "All right, put that clause in my contract that if you get relegated, I can leave," you go, "No, you can't have that." Well, why not? Are you innocent or are you not innocent? So I just think everything's gone wrong, if you like, at the same time for Man City. But as someone who was fed up of Man City winning everything, are you kind of enjoying it?
No.
Okay, let me
I'll tell you what.
rephrase it. Not necessarily downfall of Man City, but the new competitiveness of the Premier League to some extent.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely, it is. My thing with Man City is, and I've always sort of struggled with this, particularly West Ham fans going, they must be punished. They must be punished. It's almost like it's Turkey's voting for Christmas. We're accepting a set of rules that will stop us ever being successful. So the amount of people that I see saying Man City must be punished, Man City must be punished. Oh, and I want new owners. That they're not going to go hand in hand, because any new owner coming in, if what you want, if you just want different owners for Sullivan, then that's absolutely fine. If you have ambition, then the very rules that you're wanting Manchester City to be hit by are going to hurt us as well. Now, I mean, it's fun. It's funny actually, because I was reading, it was pie in the sky stuff. It was absolutely ridiculous. It was the prospect of Elon Musk taking over a football team, an English football team. He's not going to do that, right? But if he did, if we use him for an example, let's say he was to come over and take over West Ham, we'd actually need him to sort of give us a bit of sponsorship from Tesla, from SpaceX, from Starlink and stuff like that. You'd need that sort of stuff just to compete with these other clubs. So I think whilst I don't want any team winning the Premier League time after time after time, I really don't, particularly not 4 years in a row. Otherwise, we just become an uncompetitive league. And I am pleased for that. If the way that Manchester City ultimately get beaten is because we stop them being ambitious, and then we just end up with Liverpool and Manchester United and Arsenal at the top once it's all filtered down, and once this whole process of PSR has been distilled down, and we just get left with those and no one can compete with them because no one else is allowed to spend aside from them, I think it's a bad thing. I don't think that's what's happened now. I do think it's cyclical. And I think actually it's remarkable what they did to do four. It was four in a row. A fifth is in, well, Bundesliga obviously not, but a fifth is impossible. It is impossible, and nor should they. So I think you've got to give a big bit of credit. To be fair, I fell asleep watching the game. I fell asleep. Arsenal went 2-1 up, and I fell asleep. They're great for making you fall asleep, Arsenal. They won. Arsenal won last night, right?
Yeah, it was a 3-1. They scored about 3 minutes after their second goal, but it was a boring game. I have to admit, it wasn't the most fun one. I was itching for the darts to come on after, just to perk me up a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I sort of look, I was looking at that and thinking, you know what, they've actually done well. Bearing in mind, they don't seem to be firing all cylinders. By the way, Man City, you talk about De Bruyne, they could probably, from what I saw, they could possibly do with Odegaard. He could possibly do that, do a job for them in there, funny enough. But I was watching it and it wasn't a great game, and people were, even the commentators were talking about set plays. And I thought, you know what, fair play. I don't like Arsenal at all, but I thought fair play to them for doing that. They might not be playing at their best, but they found a system. They found a way to compete at the top. And fair play to Liverpool, actually, in that sense, in terms of Arne Slot, because it's just, they've not spent lots of money, but he's found a way. And I am pleased for that. And it does show the strength of the Premier League. So it's really important. Really important. And they can't now. Really important that Man City do not win for a fifth time. And it's not me being anti-Man City.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between anti-Man City and anti-one team winning the league season after season after. It doesn't matter who it is. I know I'm speaking for you here, but I know he would say the same, even if it was Liverpool that had won 4 in a row. We say, "Oh, not Liverpool the fifth time, please. Can we have someone else?" And I think it's made it a bit more enjoyable. I think the thing that's made it less enjoyable is the fact that Liverpool are sort of running away with it a little bit, and there's not quite a 2-horse race or even a 3-horse race with Chelsea. They were looking like they're creeping up, but they've lost their way over the festive period. So it looks like Liverpool are sort of going to comfortably go on and win this title. And I think that's what almost like you're waiting for this. And arguably, periods of Man City and their 4 wins, the league was more competitive when they won it one of those 4 times, because it went to like the last game of the season and they won it then. Whereas I'm not sure the title will go to the last game of the season this time round. So it's quite ironic, really. It's a bit like boring, but actually you might find this is one of the most boring title
Yeah.
races, and Man City don't win it in the end. But saying that, though, silver linings, I think maybe in recent seasons, I think they've struggled to maybe juggle the Premier League title race because they have had a Liverpool or an Arsenal pushing them all the way. They've had to break records, Man City, to win some of their recent titles. I think sometimes the downside to that is the Champions League campaign. Obviously, they've won it once now, but I do think this season, actually, when the Champions League comes back round and it starts to get a bit serious, they're 14 points behind Liverpool. They're not making that up. Sometimes Man City will be a bit behind at New Year, and you think, here they go. They're just going to turn it on. They're going to go like a train and win it. I'm not sure they can do that this time round. So when the Champions League comes around, I think actually it could be all eggs in one basket for Pep Guardiola. And I actually fancy him to go on and win the Champions League because I think they'll invest in January. I think they'll fix some of the problems. And they're still a good team. They're not firing on all cylinders, nowhere near it. But I think by the time the knockout stages comes around later on in the season, they could be up and running. And I think they could focus on trying to win the Champions League. And I think they might do it.
Yeah, I mean, look, the other thing to remember about Man City is they generate a huge revenue from their academy, a monstrous revenue. And there are always people willing to buy players that don't start in the Manchester City first team. So they can very, very easily balance the books by... They can rustle. Funny enough, them and Chelsea can rustle up £50 million like nobody's business. They really can. So all they've got to do is... I remember sitting with you at West Ham and whatever. I don't know. Man City were whooping us, whatever, 4-5. Who knows, right? And you were going, and I remember doing the review with you afterwards, and you were going mad about Fernandinho, yeah. Yeah, and you were right on him. You were saying he's brilliant. He's just bossing this game. He's running this game. He's amazing. He's fantastic. And I remember then he looked irreplaceable. When Fernandinho goes, Man City won't be the same team, but they were because they found his replacement. As long as they can identify. Now, when Rodri came in, he wasn't as good as Fernandinho, but maybe you would suggest he's gone on and become better than Fernandinho was. So just the question is, can Man City identify that one player? Well, you'd imagine they probably can because they've already done it once before. I would think that certainly be the case. Can they win the Champions League? Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, the funny thing is, it's always hard to look. I'm going to say something maybe a bit mad now, but Real Madrid have looked so good in recent years. I do wonder if Mbappe's getting in everyone's way a little bit. And Vinicius, I didn't like all the Ballon d'Or stuff and throwing their toys out of pram. Vinicius Jr. didn't win that because the Real Madrid vote was split between him, Carvajal, and Jude Bellingham. If none of those had been up there, Vinicius Jr. was no conspiracy or anything. Anyway, what a player he is, Vinicius Jr. Did they need Mbappe? I don't know. So I just think, whilst Real Madrid might look, some might say they should be improved by having Mbappe there. Bellingham and Vinicius Jr. are definitely worse. And they also had that, is his name Rodrigo, who was coming through. Yeah. He looked like he was going to make a real big impact as well. So I'm not, as crazy as it sounds, I'm not sure that they'd be the unbeatable force that sometimes they are. So yeah, of course, Man City have got Pep Guardiola in charge. Of course, they can win the Champions League. Yeah.
Players in Mayor.
I will go. I really like. I don't know why I can't say his name. It looks easy enough. Gvardiol. Yeah. Thank you. He's really good. He's a really, really good footballer. He's one of them complete footballers who can sort of play anywhere. In fact, I'm surprised. I don't know. I don't watch him enough. Maybe he has tried him in Rodri's position. He seems to be able to play anywhere else. Really good player. I really like him. I've not gone off Haaland because he's stopped hitting the ball the back of the net. He still looks the most complete striker. I watched him the other day and he cut. He did a ridiculous trick. He's massive. The geezer's huge. He did some sort of fleet of foot nutmeg trick like a number 10 would do. And then unleashed this, I think it hit the post or something, unleashed this ridiculous shot. The guy is ridiculous. He's just in a little bit of bad form at the moment, but he's really, really good player. And let's not pick someone obvious. I won't pick De Bruyne. Phil Foden, you mentioned Phil Foden at the start. Phil Foden, bless you. is an amazing player, and he'll come back. But he is, he's in his early 20s. This happens to players like that. It happens to them. They'll have a little season off, and then the trick is, can you then 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, can you put it in consistently there? Phil Foden will be back. He's a very, very good player.
There's not weirdly, it feels like there's not loads to choose from at the minute, because no one plays City. It's like, oh, which two do I pick out of this team of world class players? But at the minute, it's like, oh, which two do I pick out of this team of underperformers at the minute? And that's what they are. They're top players not performing to the best ability. And I think Guardiola is one of those for me. I think I still can't quite work out if I like him or not. I think he's got a lot of talent, but I think defensively he's quite suspect. And maybe I'm being a bit biased because I watched Ben Doak, 17, 18-year-old for Scotland, rip him a new one when playing for Croatia. You just tore him apart. And this untested player was just ripping one of these world-class players apart. I think Akanji for me has always been sort of like quiet and steady at Man City. I do think he's like one of their better buys in recent seasons, and I don't think quite gets applauded. I'm still trying to work Rico Lewis out. Clearly a talented footballer. I'm just not sure of his position. I'm not convinced he's a right back. I'm not convinced he's a central midfielder. Very good player under pressure, playing in tight spaces, reads the game very well. But I'm sort of looking at him thinking, where does this guy play, or where is he going to play? I think it helps when you've got a manager like Pep Guardiola who will give you like two roles to play. And so you're sort of right back, but you sort of drop into midfield. Yeah. So he has this hybrid role, which is sort of suiting him. I'm unconvinced. And I don't know if this is maybe what we've got to expect from footballers in the long term, maybe 5-10 years away, where maybe we don't have positions. They've got roles. And I know Lee Carsley's reputation has come down a bit because he took the role of England manager, but prior to replacing Southgate, it was quite high because of how well England were performing. And I remember him during the tournament getting asked about, I can't remember which player it was in particular, and he said, "Oh no, we don't have positions. We have roles and responsibilities." And I thought every other manager will think that Pep Guardiola will think the same as well. He just doesn't say it in public. And I thought that maybe this is where football's going. I don't know if Rico Lewis is just an example of a footballer that's yet to come, which is he's not a right back, but he's not a central midfielder, but he's very good at these things. And it's a case of playing where you can. And then Bernardo Silva, still the only player that I think I've seen be world-class in multiple positions. Man City have had, Rodri's a world-class defensive midfielder, but if you stick him right wing, I don't think he will be. And you stick him right back, I don't think he will be. But I've seen Bernardo Silva play central midfield, sort of in the number 10 role, right wing, left wing, and be world-class in various different positions. A very unique footballer, and I still think he's the best dribbler in the Premier League. Maybe not necessarily best at, running at fullback and taking him on, but ball close to his body, weaving in and out of players. A bit of a dirty footballer as well, I think. I think he's got a bit of a nasty streak in him. But when I'm watching him kick the living daylights out of players like Bruno Fernandes, I quite like it. I quite like it, to be honest with you.
Crack on.
Anyway, from Man City to West Ham, before we do, I've got a little tip for some of you. Now, this is the promotion part of the video where we're promoting Match Bingo, but I've got a tip for those that have been using Match Bingo for quite some time now, if you're a current user. For the Man City West Ham game, we've got the usual promotion: buy 4 cards, get 1 free, but it's £2 per play. In the pot, it's 250 quid. So there's £250 up for grabs, £2 per card. However, West Ham women play Chelsea women. So the Women's Super League, the pot is £250. The promotion is buy 4, get 1 free, but it's only £1 per go. And there will be less people playing it.
Same chance of winning.
Probability of winning goes up. The winnings stay the same. And cost of entry is down. There you go. There's a tip from Geo. Bet wisely. So it'll cost you £4 to get 5 cards, and the pot's £250 for the West Ham women. And you don't need to watch it. You don't need to mark the card off yourself. It does it automatically. So you can buy the card, not even watch the game, and you may win some money on there as well. If you haven't already signed up to Match Bingo, you're thinking, what's this guy on about? Then you can download it. The link's in the description below. And when you sign up, you deposit £10. They'll give you £10 free credit as well. So it'll give you £20 to play with on the app. You can get involved on the Man City West Ham game and West Ham women taking on Chelsea women lots of opportunities to win. And it's not just West Ham women. There's other women's games on there as well. So get involved. But there's a little tip for you. Cost less, win the same, less people. I like those odds. Anyway, Gonzo, would you like some team news?
I would love some team news, please.
Well, you're going to give me a bit of the team news in a second, but I'll do the easy bit, which is Thomas Souček and Guido Rodriguez are both back from suspension. They missed the game against Liverpool after accumulating 5 yellow cards. Unfortunately, Jarrod Bowen is out with a fractured foot, so he is out for the foreseeable future. Michael Antonio obviously remains out, although good news, he's returned home from hospital. So the only player that we don't really know about is Lucas Fabianski, but you've been doing a little Googling.
I have been doing a little bit of Googling. So when there was a lot of talk about a dementia in older players and a concussion and stuff like that, it was a lot of research was done, and they came to the conclusion there was this thing called secondary. It wasn't just repeatedly heading the ball, not just that, but secondary impact syndrome, which when you take one blow to the head, your brain swells up. It's really important you don't get another blow to the head, because basically that can be what causes the long-term neurological damage. The British Medical Journal, NHS, World Health Organization, everybody would say.
Good job. I only got dropped on my head once as a child then, isn't it?
Well, you could have done, but as long as it wasn't, well, actually for children it's different. So actually children would be a month. So yeah, as long as mummy and daddy Geo didn't drop you on the head for another month, you'd have been absolutely fine. Clearly they did, from what I'm noticing on this, by the way. With adults, it's 2 weeks, it's 14 days, basically. So you mustn't receive another blow to the head. So they just implemented it. The Premier League implemented the advice from the British Medical Journal. And so anyway, I saw a little sneaky team sheet last week and Fabianski was on it. It can't be. It's impossible. It's against the rules. So I went and looked at the Premier League rule book and protocols. They've changed it to 7 days.
So he could return.
And it's naughty. It's naughty. Now, they do say that you have to have a scan and they have to check, but they have basically created their own set of rules, which rugby won't follow. No one else will follow this stuff. They've honestly, from the advised way that medicine says you can deal with this stuff, they've done something differently. So Fabianski can play. And by the way, I think he could have played in the last game. Fair play to West Ham, because they didn't play him.
Well, that's why I'm a bit daft then. My head gets a lot of blowing. There you go. Lots of blows to my head.
Lucky you.
That's why I'm a bit daft. Anyway, right, this is a team myself and Gonzo want to see, not what we think Lopetegui will do. That's a completely different discussion and one that never aligns either. In goal then, Gonzo, who would you like to see?
Having said all of that, I'd like to see Fabianski, but it's 14 days. Well, it will be. It will have been 14 days, so that's fine. As long as he's fine, then it would be 14
Well, it won't
days.
be, because it was Southampton, which was Boxing Day, which is midweek. You're getting muddled up because of all the midweek games and stuff.
Christmas and New Year.
It was Nathan Wood on Boxing Day.
What year was it? What year is it?
It was last year.
Yeah, okay. It was last year. That should be enough time to recover, shouldn't it? No, in which case, look, this is the point. This is why you have to take it out of people's hands, because you get people like me thinking, oh, actually, I would quite like Fabianski to play. Manager will think, I'd quite like Fabianski to play. That's why boxers have the towel thrown in for them. Boxer's not going to quit. That's why his corner have to pull him out of there and do what's best for him.
Ultimately, you have no say on whether Fabianski's deemed able to play or not. So forgetting his head injury for a minute, who would you rather have in goal?
Forget his head injury, I'd play Fabianski.
As would I. Fabianski for me. Your defence, please.
Soufal at right back, Todibo, not Mavra. That's a little bit, excuse me, controversial. Todibo, Kilman, Wan-Bissaka left back.
You're really fed up with him, unless you're playing him left wing like Lopetegui did against Liverpool.
Do I look like someone that's about to play Emerson left wing?
Are you defending against a hybrid Rico Lewis?
Absolutely.
You've just had enough of him, haven't you?
I have had enough, Geo. It's exactly right, mate. Yeah, it's exactly right. I've seen a lack of effort from him, and I don't want to see it anymore. There were players who can come out of that Liverpool game with credit because they tried. They really tried, and I think the tactics let us down massively. I've had enough of Lopetegui, as some people might notice. But there are, it's not just Emerson. There are a couple of players. I can't be asked if we're going to get beaten and we're going to get, then I just want people to put maximum effort in. I cannot be seeing people walking back into position and stuff like that. I'm sorry, I've seen him do it, and I'm just not interested in Emerson. I haven't got anything bad long term. He was a hero of Prague, and it was great last season. But last season and this season's Emerson are almost like two different players. Wan-Bissaka is much better at left back this season than Emerson is, and it's basically the choice of either Emerson and Wan-Bissaka or Soufal Wan-Bissaka. I'll take the second choice.
I do get it. It's not like I don't understand. I'm going to go different and say Wan-Bissaka, Todibo, Kilman, and Emerson, because I think, regardless of what I've just said about the Manchester City wingers, they are still quick. They are still able to go by their opponents, and I think I've still got PTSD from watching Doku gives Soufal a bit of a hiding, and I don't wish to see a repeat of that. So that's why I picked it. If it was a different opposition, I'd maybe go along with what you're suggesting, but it's not. Moving into midfield, this is where it starts to get, you thought picking a defence was tricky. This is where it gets really tricky. What are you going in midfield?
Yeah, Alvarez, but just sit. I don't want any funny stuff in this one. Just sit. Just sit. Sometimes a paint by numbers does it. You don't need to overthink this stuff. And I think he is guilty of massively overthinking Lopetegui. And I think looking at Man City as they are at the moment, actually sometimes where they are at the moment, maybe a solid system, just a solid system with good players within it who can maybe do a counter attack will do. I'd like largely that back four to stay in place. I don't want the fullbacks bombing forward. I don't want Kilman or Todibo particularly dribbling out of defence. I've picked Todibo over Kilman because I don't think there's. I know they've got Haaland in there, but by and large they will keep the ball on the deck a lot as well. And so I think you're going to have to. I think he's probably better at that. I think he's more mobile. Todibo and I just Alvarez. He's good at intercepting. He's good at blocking. He's good at that stuff. Just stay there. Stay in front of back. Not as a hybrid centre-back. Stay in front of that back four. And we'll let the other two central midfielders try and create something. Who's Carlos Soler. And I'm actually going to put Andy Irving in.
I do get it. I thought he looked all right when he came on against Liverpool. You don't had a chance yet. I can completely understand why you would go with Andy Irving in there. I thought he looked neat and tidy, albeit against Liverpool in training mode, but that's all we've got to. It's not our fault. That's all we've got to evaluate.
He's got a long shot, Geo. He's got a long shot. Our midfield are currently offering nothing.
And he put in a bloody good cross against Liverpool.
And he put in a bloody good cross. I'll tell him to shoot as well. I'd instruct him to shoot.
Yeah, I get it. I think I'd go Alvarez for the same reasons you, but with the opposite. You don't want to see him dropping into the back. I don't want to see him crossing the halfway line to some extent. I think too often we see him pressing the opposition. He's the one, like a headless chicken, running past the other central midfielders, chasing the ball. And I think, what are you doing? You're not good at this. You're easy to bypass. And then when they do go forward on the attack, you're now 30 yards out of position. There's a gaping big hole in between our midfield and defence where you're meant to be. And I think plenty of teams have shown in the past couple of months, there's a lot of evidence here against Man City, by the way. It's not like there's one team got a draw against them, which when we went to play Liverpool, you have to go back to Nottingham Forest at Anfield to go, oh, so how did they beat them? No, you just have to go back to the last couple of months where Man City have lost more games than they've won. They've dropped more points than they picked up. There's a lot of evidence of how to play against Man City at the minute. Yes, they've just won against Leicester City, but I read a statistic that Leicester City completed 500 passes against Man City in that game, which they were one of 9 teams to do it in the last. I don't know. It doesn't happen very often, basically. But Leicester were able to impose themselves on Man City. I don't think it's going to take a tactical genius to outdo Pep Guardiola, outdo this out of form Man City team. Parking the bus in this game could work. Let City have the ball in the areas because they're showing that the chance creation is low, hence why one of the best goal scorers in the world is failing to score. It's not because he's turned crap, it's because he's not getting the chances. The chance creation is low in this Man City team at the minute. Confidence is low. Keep Alvarez in a defensive midfield role. Protect the back four, that's his role. I would go Carlos Soler, and I've gone Thomas Souček. if he was to play Irving, I wouldn't be disappointed. I'd be intrigued. The reason I've gone Souček is purely for an additional goal threat going forward. And if Man City do resort to crossing it to Haaland, we've got a bit of height in there. And I think Souček, everything that we've said is bad with Edson Alvarez. Thomas Souček has it, that discipline, that knowing his role and not overstepping the boundaries, being where he should be. He's excellent at all those things. I think of having him there. So the front three then, obviously no Jarrod Bowen, so Mohamed Kudus is going to feature somewhere, but where are you going to feature him and who with?
I'm going to play him on the right wing, and I'm going to play Crescencio Somerville on the left wing. Look, I expect us to lose this game. Let me just get this absolutely right here. But we have a chance. If we have a chance, it will be on the counter-attack.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play our fastest player at centre forward. I'm going to play Luis Guilherme there. I'm just going to give it a go. I would anticipate Soler and Irving will be able to pass the ball forward, and they'll do it quickly. And those boys can create a little bit of havoc there. I really do. I don't think, as I say, I wouldn't play full crew because, in all honesty, I'm not. Well, for my formation, I've told you, I'm going to, no funny business. The defenders are going to have to stay put, and Alvarez sat in front of them. The fullbacks for me wouldn't be overlapping and putting crosses in for. We're going to have to create something with our attacking midfielders and our front three, and we're going to have to get the ball up there really, really quickly. And actually, maybe start using Todibo and Kilman for the reasons. Well, not why we brought them for, because we couldn't say we brought them for, but they both have got some really good crossfield balls. Kilman left to right, Todibo right to left. Long balls, the old Hollywood passes. Let's have a go at that. I mean, the irony is we played Liverpool. There was one pass from Van Dijk, pinged it right out to Salah. They're not afraid to do it. Let's have a go. Let's try and ping these people out, and let's do that. Let's go old. Just go old school. And for that reason, I'd like it. I'd like to see. We all know that Guilherme can run. We all saw the stats before he came in. He's as fast as Mbappe. It's not. I don't believe that stuff. He looks. He looks quick as a greyhound. So I've no reason to think otherwise. Give it a go. Do something. Let's get him in there. Do something different. You never know. We might just come away with a win.
I completely agree with the quarterback passes, and I actually agree with your personnel, although I've slightly changed mine. And you can guess what it is now. So I've got Somerville on the left, Guilherme on the right, and Kudus up front. And that's why I've not gone Andy Irving, because I've got my gamble in Guilherme playing. He might be crap and he might get absolutely roasted. I don't know. But I'll tell you what I don't want to see. I don't want to see Füllkrug up front. And I'm not an anti-Füllkrug person.
Auntie Füllkrug.
Auntie
Füllkrug. Bless her. That's probably why he's homesick. She makes she makes a lovely German sausage, doesn't she, Auntie Füllkrug? That's why he wants to go back home.
But this ain't the game for him. If we are going to get opportunities to go 3-on-3 with Man City's defenders. Not very often, but we're going to get a few chances. Pace, direct running, that's required. I'm not sure this is the right game. You saw it against Liverpool. He came on and he was just invisible. There was almost no point. And the times he did get it, he was on the halfway line. He gave out to a winger. The winger would run forward. And by the time they got to 18-yarder, he's still halfway down the pitch because he's not quick enough to keep up with. He's not quick enough to keep up with Guilherme, Kudus, Somerville. He needs to be ahead of the play. He's not fast enough to do that. And I'm not writing him off. The next game, I may include him, but for this one, I think it's the wrong person. Put Guilherme in there, put Kudus through the middle for it, and Somerville on the left. Big opportunity for him. And I'm a bit like yourself. Direct running and pace from the three front men. Get the ball out to them, and let's have a 3-on-3. City will give you opportunities to score. They will. They'll give you plenty of them as well. This is a side that's looked very suspect to the counter-attack for a couple of months now. And if we turn up with a slow striker, like I said, there's a lot of evidence to how to play Man City right now. And if you ignore all that and go, nah, they're all wrong, I'm going to play Füllkrug. Please, just don't do anything stupid. And the last thing I will say, I don't want to see Paqueta play. I've had enough. Thomas Souček captain for me. Get the armband on Thomas Souček. I was genuinely insulted to see Paqueta giving the armband when Bowen went off against Liverpool. I'm hoping it's just because Souček wasn't on the pitch and that he's the actual vice captain. But if I see Paqueta with the captain's armband, I will be disappointed on Saturday afternoon. Anyway, before I ask Gonzo if he's optimistic and why he may or may not be optimistic, and we give our predictions, we want your predictions. We want your predictions over on our Patreon. We've not promoted it for the last couple of months because because we've not been doing good enough over on Patreon because of everything going on in life. So things took pause a little while. Well, it's now back on the play button. Content is getting ramped up. But our prediction competition is something we have for every single West Ham game, and it's part of your Patreon. It doesn't matter which tier you subscribe to, you can enter. And this weekend, we are going big with the prize. It doesn't matter which tier you're subscribed to. If you're the overall winner, you will win this shirt, which is signed by Sir Trevor Brookin. So it's a 1980 FA Cup final winning shirt replica signed by the absolute legend of West Ham United. So if you're a supporter tier or a mild addict tier and you win, you will win that shirt. But if you're an addict and you win, that's not enough for you, is it? We've got to go a little bit better. So you can have either this signed Julian Dix captain's armband or this signed Paul Di Canio captain's armband. The winner picks which one they want. Plus, if you join up as a trialist, which you can do, you can give it a go for free for a week. You can have a week's free Hammers Chat Patreon, and you win it. You win the prediction competition. You will win a signed copy of Jimmy Walker's book, which came out just before Christmas. So you could, in theory, become a trialist, not give us a penny, enjoy content, enter the prediction competition, win it, get a signed copy of Jimmy Walker's book, and end your Patreon. Hopefully you don't. Hopefully you've enjoyed it enough. But you could. So in theory, you could do all that without giving us a penny. Patreon.com/Hammers Chat. Massive thank you to everybody who does sign up and has signed up. If you took Patreon away, we would not be producing as much videos we do on YouTube. It's as simple as that. One of the biggest reasons for people leaving Patreon is, there's enough content on, you do enough content on YouTube. Thank you. I'll just enjoy that. We understand it, but it's because of Patreon we do enough content on YouTube for free. Take away Patreon, we ain't doing as much videos. It's that simple. So far, we've been able to not do the nuclear option, which is do less videos on YouTube and put it on Patreon to try and force people onto Patreon. We don't want to get to that point, but only people join Patreon. Anyway, Gonzo, are you feeling a little bit optimistic for this one?
No. They are. Well, obviously they managed to get end the run of bad results, City, before they got to West Ham. But we are the perfect team for them to play at the moment. We have a really, really soft underbelly. We have a slow midfield. We have a defence that's easy to pick apart. This is the perfect game for Manchester City. The absolute perfect game for them to start their recovery, get their winning streak back together before they go into the transfer market and repair whatever damage they deem is necessary in the January transfer window. So I think we'll lose. I don't even think it's even close.
I'm annoyed at my lack of optimism for this game. I'm actually quite angry about it because we should be sitting here saying, do you know what? I really fancy this. That team's bang out of form. Yes, they've gone to Leicester, but they weren't that great. They were a little bit rusty. We can go there, not only pick up a point, we can pick up 3 points. Other teams, worse teams than us, have gone there and got 3 points against City. Now it's our turn to do the same and get back to London, having beat the champions on their home turf. But I ain't feeling like that. Man City makes me feel like I should feel like that, but West Ham and the way we have been prevent me feeling optimistic for this game. And I'm quite annoyed about it, actually, because for years, City have just been too good.
Yeah.
It's white flaggish. And I think sometimes we've been a little bit, we've conceded too easy. It's City, we can't attack them. But I think there's sometimes that's been justifiable, which is even if you do, they still tend to beat you because they're just that bloody good. I've seen us play really well against Man City and get beat because Man City are that good. Well, they're not that good at the moment, but we aren't good at all. And I think we will have the white flag attitude to some extent, but I think we just don't have the tactics to go there and compete. And the worst thing is, I don't even feel like it would take a genius to go there and get something at the minute as West Ham United manager. I think it would have required something remarkable to get something last weekend against Liverpool. I don't think the standard is that high for this game, but I'm not optimistic either. And it's because of A, the man in charge, and B, the players' lack of form at the moment, lack of heart. You know, we just got beat 5-0 by Liverpool. We didn't even pick up a booking. The one game this season we didn't pick up a booking. We're getting slaughtered in front of our own fans, and the players were just a bit whatever. Can I get any final words from yourself, Gonzo, as well as your all-important score prediction?
Yeah, I do want to point this out as well, because I want Lopetegui gone, but the worse Lopetegui gets, the better David Moyes starts to look. And I just want to make the point, because David Moyes was as guilty as anyone at not recognising when the big teams are out of form. He just played the badge. You know, David Moyes would have approached this game like he was playing a treble-winning Manchester City. He absolutely would have done. That being said, we still would have been better set up, and I still think even with his negative tactics, we might have had a chance. It's like we can't find a way through, and now we have. It's like we've got like an open door policy at the back, and it's exactly what they need. They are. Honestly, I just can't. I would be licking my lips if I was Erling Haaland. And we got the shame of it is we got some really good footballers at West Ham. I keep on saying it. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is my favourite signing of the summer. I really like Max Kilman. I think they're really, really good players. Not only good players, good defenders as well. And we're not giving these people a chance. Goodness knows how good or bad Todibo is. He just, how can you have a chance in this system? It's crazy.
By not smacking the manager at halftime against
that helps. That'd probably get you in the team, wouldn't it? Yeah, that's a good point. I'll be fascinated to see what allegedly. Yeah, I'd be fascinated to see what not Todibo, Lopetegui does in the starting line. It's going to be fascinating. The starting lineup is going to be fascinating. What he does is going to be fascinating. I am caught between. I don't know. I sometimes think with any of these managers, not just him, and Southgate or anyone, any manager that I think might be in a little bit of trouble, I think go for it, have a go. You know what I mean? Just roll the dice, try something different. Whatever has not been working for you, do something different now. I'm not saying, because I think in many respects Lopetegui is going for it.
Well, he did do something different. He played Emerson left wing.
I guess he did, yeah. He just hasn't got the answers. I think this is the point. He's not very good. I'm not saying he's not a bad manager. I'm not saying he's a bad manager. Clearly, he has got some managerial qualities. What I would say is he's nowhere near as good as managing in the Premier League as he thought he was. I think it's all just too fast-paced for him. I think he'd maybe bring in continental ideas, which a lot of coaches will do, and they'll do really, really well at. But I said it at the first game of the season, Gio. I said it. It looks even faster than before. Premier League was always the fastest, most energetic, but now it seems like it's off the chart. It's like there's a new breed of player in there, and it's just not good. It's not good. And I worry the same in many respects. I worry the same about Potter as well. If we were to get him, I think that stuff that Potter was doing that made Brighton successful. And I think Potter did really well by transitioning from Chris Hughton to making him play different. He did it really quickly. It was very, very good. But whatever his ideas he has are just not going to work. And I do wonder if he is now going to try and play a possession-based pressing game against the master. So basically, he's gonna go to Guardiola with Guardiola tactics, not done very well at all. With a 99, sorry, it's not 99p shop, with a pound shop version of what Guardiola does. I just think we're going to get torn apart. No Jarrod Bowen's huge. It's huge. 4-0.
I think no Bowen does really ruin it a little bit, because he was the one player you look at and think, you give him half a chance, you might get a goal, he might create something. We've lost our main goal scorer and our main creative player. Now, sometimes I think you look at it and you have to scrape the barrel a little bit and say, well, here's an opportunity. We've just discussed it. Guilherme, Kadu, Somerville, an opportunity for 3 wingers, 1 guy being injured, opportunity for 3 players. That's quite significant. But you've got to have faith in the guy in charge, recognising that, doing that, and then putting it into action and it working. And I just don't have any of it whatsoever. I don't think Guilherme will start. I think it'll be Kadu on the right, Somerville on the left, and Fulks who've got fun. At best, I actually, do you know what? I'm going to make a prediction. I don't think Somerville starts. I think it'll be Kudus right, Fulks got front, Paqueta on the left, Souček, Solar, Alvarez. I think that's what he'll do. I'm not even convinced he plays one of the wingers, never mind both of them. Yeah, it's a shame because when you were speaking about Boyce, I thought, you know what, his tactics would work in this game because other teams have shown it. Low block, park the bus a little bit, go for counter attack, direct, bit of pace. That's what I want to see in this game. Gone full circle here, and I want to see Lopetegui play Moyes ball, but I think that's how this match in particular it would work for. But I just don't think this guy's got it in him to even recognise it, never mind put a plan in place to get something. I completely agree with Haaland. Strikers that have been playing us recently have been getting multiple chances. We made WHUFC one of the worst strikers I've ever seen in Premier League look good for 90 minutes, and he came away unlucky not to score in that match.
Yeah.
The guy hadn't scored in 18 months. He still hasn't scored in 18 months for Southampton. He almost scored against us on multiple occasions. Yeah. Like Haaland, if he doesn't score a brace this weekend, he's had a bad game. Like I said, under West Ham under Lopetegui, we can't defend and we can't attack. It's a really bad combination. I'm going to say that I think we'll still score a goal because we've got some quality. Man City can't defend either. But I think we'll get beat comfortably. I'm going to say 3-1 Man City. Anyway, there you go. Cheery Geo and Cheery Gonzo. New year. Same grumpiness. We're consistent here in Hammers Chat. At least we can say that. If you've somehow enjoyed this preview, please do drop a like on it by clicking thumbs up. Subscribe to Hammers Chat. And if you fancy entering a prediction competition and trying to win a signed Sir Trevor Brookings shirt as well as a signed captain's armband, then go to patreon.com/Hammers Chat. It costs from £3.60 per month. So £3.60 per month, less than £1 a week. You can help support us to continue making videos on YouTube as well as on Patreon, and hopefully enjoy the content. Thank you very much for 2024, and we hope you stick around with us in 2025. Myself and Gonzo, catch you in a bit.